If I were to ask you what the first country in Asia to achieve marriage equality was, you may immediately know it to be Taiwan, and rightfully so. But if I were to ask you what the second country in Asia to do so was, that would be a bit more complicated, because depending on how you look at it and what resource you refer to, there are two possible answers. One is Nepal, a country located deep in the Himalayas just north of India and home to Mount Everest. Nepal has been technically performing a limited form of same-sex marriages since April of this year, but with some serious caveats ranging from limited rights to unclear legal standings. And on the other hand, we have Thailand, home to one of the most iconic LGBTQ scenes in the world, and much beloved for its incredible food, friendly people, and rapid social development over recent decades. Thailand just this June legalized marriage equality officially through its houses of government, and the law is expected to take full effect later this year, 120 days after the king signs this new legislation. So then, which country is officially the second in Asia to achieve this milestone in social development? Well, if you ask Google, it'll likely say Nepal, but if you dig deeper, it leads to an interesting and at times confusing dive into the long and complicated journey toward same-sex marriage in the mountainous South Asian country. Back in June of 2023, the Supreme Court of Nepal issued the government an order to legalize marriage equality through the creation of a separate marriage register for, quote, sexual minorities. But this simply was not followed at the time. And then, last November, a transgender woman and a cisgender man became the first so-called same-sex couple to be granted the right to marry in Nepal, after a long legal back and forth between the Supreme Court, a district court in the capital that was refusing to register the marriage, and the Ministry of Home Affairs. Once their marriage was finally approved, it was understandably considered a great win for LGBTQ rights, and even led to some individuals and online resources to claim it was a signal that Nepal had introduced marriage equality. But this was not quite the case, as this individual marriage between a trans woman and a cisgender man was a unique case, as Nepal does not officially allow its citizens to legally transition, meaning that essentially the marriage was in some ways considered to be a same-sex marriage, while in other ways it was likely allowed to take place primarily because it was between people of two different genders, despite one being trans. Practically, this meant that full marriage equality had not yet been achieved, and that calling the marriage between a trans woman and a cisgender man a same-sex marriage is quite problematic, as it essentially labeled the transgender woman as a man in order to qualify it as a same-sex marriage. Then, on April 24th this year, the National ID and Civil Registration Department issued a circular to all local registration authorities and told them to begin processing all same-sex marriage applications, but to file them in a separate register from the heterosexual marriages. Additionally, this temporary registration did not grant same-sex couples all the same legal rights and recognition as opposite-sex couples, like inheriting property, getting tax subsidies, making spousal medical decisions, or adopting children together. And to add insult to injury, these limited same-sex marriages also use the labels groom and bride on the marriage documentation. Furthermore, it was admitted that it is not even clear if this directive to allow these limited same-sex marriages are even being complied with by all local governments, and no official legislation securing same-sex marriage to this day has ever been passed by the federal parliament. So essentially, despite many websites, foreign rights groups, media outlets, and individuals claiming that Nepal was the second country in Asia to achieve marriage equality, it really was and remains not such a simple claim to make. My question for you is this: do you consider labeling a marriage of a trans woman and a cisgender man the same thing as a same-sex marriage, or does that erase the woman's transness? Also, do you consider any marriage to be a real marriage if the couple is denied making medical spousal decisions, getting tax benefits, or adopting children together? Now, Thailand, on the other hand, has legislated full marriage equality, which includes true equal rights for same-sex couples as opposite-sex couples already enjoy. This comprehensive bill is robust, clear, and expansive, and while it has not yet come into effect, it is expected to before the end of the year, 120 days after the king signs it into law, which is expected any day now. Whereas in Nepal, there is at this stage no clear law, no clear rights, and no clear definition of what this limited same-sex marriage really is, considering, well, its limited scope. So until further clarification from the government, it does not make practical or factual sense to claim that Nepal has achieved marriage equality, despite it being something I desperately want to happen, think about often, and am rooting for every day. To our Nepalese queer family, we see you and are paying attention. Best of luck to you in your fight for equality, and know that positive change is possible, so keep up the good fight. If not the second country in Asia to achieve real and full marriage equality, I have full faith that Nepal will at least be the third, and what a proud and impactful accomplishment it will be. Well done to both Thailand and Nepal for being pioneers in Asia and quickly following the example of Taiwan by standing up for liberty and equal rights for all citizens. Now, before we end today, I just want to invite you personally to join the Queer Kingdom, if you have not already, and join our quickly growing community. You can join the kingdom here on YouTube for $1 a month, which will eventually help me to make this channel my full-time focus as soon as possible, and you will get access to some cute custom queer emojis and epic crown icons next to your comments on this channel that change and evolve the longer you are a member, or as I like to say, a citizen. So check the comments to see if you can spot any existing citizens and their crowns. It was super fun to design them. And also, while monthly live streams will be public, they are moved to the members-only feed afterwards, and controversial videos covering heavy subjects that are not quite YouTube-friendly are also privately posted for citizens of the kingdom so that we can all stay informed. And finally, joining the Queer Kingdom here on YouTube does give you more access to me through private community posts and chats. I greatly look forward to meeting you and working together to create a safe and prosperous world for our people, one step at a time. Much love and blessed be, my friend. QK out.